You're a real estate developer and you're dealing with assemblage, let me go over some things that I'm learning right now as I'm dealing with a pretty massive assemblage. And that's going to be a 250 acre assemblage, technically 288 acres that we're doing right now. So my name is Franklin Cruz from True Investors Development. I've done a whole bunch of projects, but let me get into this about dealing with the assemblage I'm dealing with right now. So me and my partners, we own about 130 acres. And so an assemblage is when you take a parcel of land and then you start assembling the land around it. And the main reason why is you potentially could have a project like a business park, apartment buildings, veteran housing, or affordable housing that needs to expand. So it's a lot of coordination. So you could be dealing with one municipality, two or three, and you need one to annex, for example, the wastewater or the water on one side, but there's a county line in the middle of it. Actually, this is happening right now. The good thing is I've dealt with this before. So one of the first assemblages that I did, and again, assemblage is just like if you have one piece of land and then there's a land next to it, right? If you've got one piece of land here and then you've got another piece of land here and then there's another piece of land here, but you don't own these pieces of land. So technically what you've got to do is you've got to call all the owners, right? And you've got to say, hey, is there a way that we can make something happen? Now you may have another owner that owns another piece of land over here, and your goal is you want to assemble all of them together for one event, right? So this could be like, hey, I can do apartments over here, but I could do a larger apartment building over here, or I could do a larger complex for affordable housing, veteran housing, nursing home, whatever. But now instead of doing 100 units, I could do 500 units, right? That's an assemblage. Hopefully this makes sense. So anyway, so what I'm doing is we've got 130 acres. The buyer of what we're coordinating with right now wants 250 plus, which we could do that. Now the catch is, so we've got to assemble the 250 acres, which we can. I've already talked to all the neighbors. And we've got to get rail on the property as well. Now the good thing is on rail means, why would anybody want rail? What's the big deal about rail? So the main reason why is if you could have rail on a parcel, right? That means railroad, right? Which when I was a kid, I really enjoyed the rail cars. That is the cheapest method and safest way to get goods into a city or any kind of municipality. Now, if you have rail and they're coming in with material that is cheaper than trucks, then you could bring down your material costs, hence bring down building costs, bring down real estate costs, bring down infrastructure costs. Like it only helps everybody within the city if you could bring down the cost of any kind of item, right? Because the truth of the matter is, we as consumers, we're the ones that pay the taxes or so-called tariffs or whatever. Any cost that goes on a business, the business does not pay for. It always goes over to the consumer. The only business that, if they ever need to raise the cost of anything, they actually never think of anything creative or a way that they can actually make it better and a better product and more inexpensive. It's usually government officials or government organizations, because they don't have to. They know they have a monopoly, and they could just say, and there's nothing you could do about the rising costs, about electrical, plumbing, impact fees, HOAs. There's nothing you could do about it. Like, even though we could complain about it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? I saw my own HOA fees at my last house. When I first got there in 2015, it was $80. When I left there 2 years ago, it was $380 a month, and nothing changed. Nothing changed, right? Actually, the services decreased. They took away the basketball courts and only put pickleball courts, which I felt bad because they literally had kids all the time playing basketball, and they had a basketball court and a pickleball court. It's just one of the board members, he's just an old grumpy old man, and he had control, and he took away the basketball court for no reason. Anyway, it is what it is, right? Not complaining, just sharing with So dealing with the assemblage and what the major lessons are. So now you understand what an assemblage is. So if you have a piece of land next to you and you want to do a larger project, you could just talk to the owner and have a conversation. Typically how I negotiate when it deals with the owners and why would they want to do this, because I've done this before. I took 22 acres to 63 acres in 1 week, right? And there was 8 different owners. And the way I did that is I went to every single owner and I just told them the truth. I just said, look, we don't hit the lottery. It's like we hit the lottery, and here's what I want to do is, like, they're going to buy my property no matter what. So you have the opportunity that you can get good money for your property now and not wait. Well, do you want in on this? You know, do you want in? What's the max what's the lowest that you would sell it that you would feel like you want big time? Because the highest is like, you don't know. Like, I don't know. I still don't have the final numbers. We're still negotiating with the actual buyer. But no matter what, we hit the lottery, which I think is great. So the other item that you could think about is saying, okay, well, what if we do this evenly? So if the buyer offers me, let's say for our parcel, right, it's 280 acres. It's going to be 288 acres. A lot of moving parts. But if we can make it happen, let's say the buyer wants to purchase our property for I don't know, $100 million, right? So let's just do some basic math, right? So if they want to do $100 million, let's say it's $100 million, which I have no idea, but it's just easy math. So $100 million for 288 acres, right? So you take that, and it's $347,000 an acre, okay? So then let's say if I've got 130 acres, so that would be, I would get $45 million. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just giving you an example, right? And if everybody else, whatever they have, right? So if another guy has 50 acres, right? And then we times that by 347, so 347,000, right? So we do 347,000. I'm going to do right here. So you get 347,000 times, and my neighbor has 40 acres, so he would make 13 million, right? This is the hypothetical. I'm just showing you example. The other neighbor has 188 acres times 347, he would get 65 million. Now again, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just giving you an example of, like, that's how powerful an assemblage could be, because right now a lot of people need land for databases, data centers, and everything else. But you just want to know, like, okay, well, if you could move the land and you don't have the up cost, what does that look like? Well, that's called an assemblage. And so what you want to do is you could see what your neighbors want and figure out, you know, what would that look like? So in my world, we've got the 130 acres. We're shooting for, if we can get $347 an acre, that'll be awesome. But we have no idea. But these are the things I'm learning, is like, you always want to just create a win-win scenario and tell the truth to everybody that is actually on the team, and just say, all right, we just got to execute, right? At the end of the time, we have to execute. We have this situation that could be a huge win-win for everybody. This is what it looks like. If you guys want in, great. And if you don't, you don't. But I don't think there's going to be another opportunity like this. So assemblages are very powerful. So yeah, if you are a real estate developer or even an investor, consider it. But remember, only start going that route if you actually have a buyer. If you do not have a buyer, it's a waste of your time. There's no reason to start doing the assemblage if you don't have an exit plan. It doesn't matter. Now, if you're going to be building, developing, stuff like that, again, there's a lot of work. There's a lot more to it. There's studies that have to be done. Typically, like if you have a man-made pond like we do, you have to get what they call a bathymetric survey, which that basically, gets the dimensions of the actual pond. How deep is the pond? Is it something that could be extracted or not? Can you move the water around? Can you not? Can you make it a stormwater pond, retention pond? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. So anyway, hopefully this helps somebody who's watching it. Let me know. If you know somebody that's dealing with that as well, you could share this with them. It'd be great. All right, bye.